Ugh. Oh my gosh. Didn't I have thought I had a Kleenex somewheres. Oh my gosh. We talked about Storyteller last week, right? I swear we talked about Storyteller last week. It picks up that, but I feel like it's not picking up my... I don't get this thing sometimes. It's so sensitive. But I don't want to boost it up too much, because then I feel like it doesn't trigger enough. I'm having trouble finding that happy medium. Okay, maybe that'll be... I don't know. I'll figure it out. Oh my god. I still need to sneeze more. Alright, let's actually jump into the actual game, shall we? So, what's the plan for the stream tonight? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, Splatfest next week. We'll talk about it. I think that's the second bullet point tonight. And you know, it's funny, because last week I said, oh, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get a Splat-o-ween. Alright, I said it wasn't going to happen. And of course, you're Cassandra. Zombies, skeletons, and ghosts. And skeletons, too. Oh, God. I love the theme for Spirit Halloween so much. Shuffling along, looking for friends for the rest of us. Again, as always, Frey gets the worst option. Yep. Yeah, I think skeletons are the worst option here. Updated the game. Okay, those are our maps. I still gotta get that jacket at some point. Not tonight, but at some point. So between the two, skeletons, you know, skeletons 2, but the keyword there is 2. Zombies, zombies are overplayed. I'm gonna go ghosts. It's tradition, you know, real ghosts. Oh my god. Wow, I don't know how I became my sinuses were perfectly fine like 10 minutes ago. I feel like the second I hit start stream, they just went to absolute shit. Yeah. So, what are we talking about tonight? Well, we have one major topic, that being Minecraft, right? Minecraft Live was last week. I did watch it. Of course, I am going to talk about it. So we got that. And then we have two smaller topics, one of them being Splat-o-ween. Alright, we're going to talk about that. Go collect the rewards for that. I probably should have done that first, but And then after that, we've got one thing on the Switch 2 that I'm just going to call out for the bullshit. You know, like everyone else already has. And then, yeah, and then we've got WIBE, which we'll talk about, Mario Wonder, and a few other things. I've got a few other things to talk about, but, you know, we'll mention Mario Wonder. Because I have been playing it. And yeah, that should be a pretty simple show. You know, nothing planned other than that. Oh my gosh, yeah, I have no idea what I did in the last 10 minutes to destroy my sinuses. I haven't gone outside. Haven't been anywhere. Well, okay, I went outside like 2 hours ago. Did I even grab a soda? No, I didn't. So yeah, so the first story tonight is Minecraft Live. So Minecraft Live was this week. Or I think it was Sunday. And so in the lead up to that, you know, we basically had a revolution. Or more accurately, Minecraft players tried to unionize. And it was all on Sunday to figure out, hey, did that work? Was our union successful, or has it been busted? So Sunday came around, and maybe outside of like 2 sentences, they didn't even address it. Nope, all of our complaints, all of our problems fell on deaf ears, and our union failed spectacularly. We were busted so fucking hard, they brought in the Pinkertons. And I thought only Wizards of the Coast did that. That's a bad joke. So yeah, our union was busted hard. And so the big thing was the mob vote, right? Everyone was like, oh, you know, get rid of the mob vote, just give us all 3 mobs. Right? And that was what the whole thing was about. The rest of Minecraft Live, I don't actually think people had a problem with. It was just the mob vote. That's what people were pissed about. So it was like, okay, well, are you going to address it this time? And long story short, no, they didn't. The one thing we got is so early on in the mob vote, right? So they start off with 3 mobs, then they close off the vote, eliminate one of the mobs, then they eliminate the other 2. Or then they eliminate the other one and announce the winner at the very end. So when the first mob was eliminated, the penguin, right? Because it was between the crab, the penguin, and the armadillo. When the first mob was eliminated, whoever does the mob vote, it's not Jens. Is it Jens? It's Agnes. Is it Agnes, Jeb, and Jens? Whoever does the mob vote, that guy. Right, when the penguin got eliminated, he was like, oh, well, you know, the penguin may be eliminated, but don't worry. Remember the frog? The frog lost the mob vote and still made it into the game. First of all, the frog didn't lose the mob vote. He lost the biome vote. And when the frog did lose the biome vote, right, it was explicitly stated that she might make it in, that all the mobs from the biome vote will make it into the game at some point in the future. Unlike the mob vote, where that has never been said. That was the problem, right? They told us about the frog, and then said they'd make it in at a future date. And there's still, like, other biomes that we, like, I want to say ostriches were one of the biome votes, turnips, meerkats. There are other things in the biome vote that, you know, have never made it in. right? The frog getting in is an exception rather than a rule. And it's the one exception in like 7 fucking years of doing this. So that's why everyone's so angry about all this. And yeah, that was it. Outside of that one thing, they didn't address any of it, right? They didn't say anything. They didn't give us all 3 mobs. In fact, this presentation was so fucking tone deaf that when they came to announcing the mob vote, they were like, this is the most popular mob vote ever. More people voted on this mob vote than any other mob vote in the history of the mob vote. Talk about fucking tone deaf. Now, you know, these videos could, like, because, you know, the entire Minecraft Live is pre-recorded weeks, if not months in advance, right? This shit could have been recorded, like, 3 months ago, for all we know. And the same thing with all the mob votes, right? You just do separate recordings for each of the parts, and then just release the part for whichever mob wins. So, right, Mojang maybe did, in theory, right, in these, like, pre-scripted videos, they couldn't address it, because, you know, these videos were recorded months ago. But what's the fuck to stop them from recording a new video, saying, hey, guess what, we're putting in all 3 mobs, or, hey, this is going to be the last mob vote ever, which I do think that's going to happen. I do think this is going to be the last mob vote ever. If it isn't, well, again, Mojang are fucking fools. Nothing has changed, and sadly it wouldn't surprise me, but I really hope this is the last mob vote. God, do I hope this is the last mob vote. Because I'm fucking sick and tired of it. Everyone is sick and tired of it. Nothing has fucking changed. But we'll see. So yeah, the entire thing with the mob vote was completely tone deaf. Like, just fucking awful. So, and the entire time, the YouTube chat was nothing but stop the mob vote. I'm sure there were other people saying stuff. I didn't see a single other thing. Is that the vocal minority? Does the silent majority even actually fucking exist? I don't even know. Part of me doesn't even think so anymore. But that's a whole other thing for another day that we don't have time to get into right now. And yeah, speaking of that, you know, so in every poll I had seen leading up to the mob vote, the crab was winning, right? In every fan poll, be that on Twitter, YouTube, even when I saw on TikTok, the crab was winning the mob vote. So I just thought, like, oh yeah, you know, it makes the most sense. The crab is probably going to win. And then when push comes to shove, guess what? The armadillo ended up winning. So was there a silent majority of armadillo fans that just weren't voting in any of the, like, major, like, YouTuber / Twitter polls that then just came out of the woodworks to get us dog armor? Maybe. Am I going to mourn the loss of that crab? Because even if the crab claw did fuck all, I was still going to pick it? Yes. Yes, I will forever mourn that crab that we will never get. And it's gonna suck. But yeah, the armadillo won the mob vote, and Mojang just doesn't... They don't give a fuck. I mean... Yeah, you know, there was a part of me that was hoping that, no, we were actually going to see something. I really wanted to be like, oh, congratulations. Congratulations, right? To the mob vote to the, like, stop the vote crowd when they won. And they might still win in the long run. Like, in a year's time, we might not have a mob vote. And I think that's for the best, honestly. Or, you know, the idea I suggested last week, right? I still stand by that's a good idea. Right? Just have players choose a mob, and then Mojang can just put whatever they want in the game and claim that, oh, we were given player input. But we'll see how it works. So, what else was actually added to Minecraft? Because there was some other shit in that showcase, and I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck about any of the other stuff. Minecraft Legends, who cares? I cannot think of a single one who gives a shit about Minecraft Legends. Nope, not one bit. A lot of the other stuff, like, yeah, there was, like, this little, like, sniffer animation about the sniffer and the camel, and, like, it was cute, I guess, but it's, right, it reminds me of, like, those, like, Pikmin animations, or some of those, like, Pokemon animations that we've seen over the years, where it's like, yeah, this is cute, I guess, but it's not really doing any, yeah, you're just, like, showing it off just to do it. So yeah, that was whatever. There was a few other things like that. There were, you know, they try to be funny, and oh lord, are they trying. Right? Like, there was this whole segment about, like, them riding, like, I just remember the bit where they're riding the minecart, and they're getting, like, wind blown in their face, and Jeb has, like, the big, like, oh, his hair's all going out, you know, oh, look at it, it's beautiful. And then Lydia comes by, and her hair, it just looks awful in comparison. Like, that's the joke. Ha ha ha, very funny. Right, there's always that type of humor at these shows, you know. It's like a fucking Ubisoft show from back in the day. I'm sure somebody laughs at it, but definitely not me. But, so they actually got to the new stuff. And what new stuff are they adding? Well, so the last update was all about, you know, making your own tales, telling your own stories in Minecraft. So this new update seems to be more adventure-focused. Right, they're adding more adventure stuff for you to find and explore. And to that end, we're getting a new thing, a new dungeon called the Trial Chambers. And it's going to be this new dungeon that you can find underground. It's made of new blocks, so there's people were complaining that there's not enough uses for copper. Guess what? They've added a bunch of new copper blocks. People were complaining that tuff didn't have any variations. Guess what? They added a bunch of new variations of tuff. But, right, we got all these new copper blocks, copper doors, copper, like, trap doors, tons of stuff, copper, like, this, like, transparent copper block, a copper bulb, where it's a light source, but as the copper rusts and, right, turns green, the light gets dimmer. I think that's honestly, I think the copper bulb is a cool idea. And most of these new copper and tuff blocks, I think, looks good. The tuff bricks look pretty good. The new copper looks good. Are we going to get copper buttons? I think we should. Because I find it very interesting that of all these new blocks added, they're primarily copper and tuff. And you know what mobs Mojang had in a mob vote that they could add to the game right now that would be thematically appropriate? That would also win them some goodwill? A copper golem and a tuff golem. That, you know, would thematically fit into these new dungeons. That, you know, they could have the copper golems run around and push buttons to do things in the like as traps. They could have the tuff golems as item display cases in the dungeon. And then you'd also be able to make your own copper and tuff golems. Right? Like, there's definitely a thing here that they could totally take advantage of in these new trial chambers. It's just a question of, will they actually do it, or is Mojang the laziest developers on the planet? We all know the answer, even though I feel like, again, Mojang's problem is not a development problem, it's a PR problem. It always has been, and it sadly always will be, because that's just kind of the state we're in right now. So yeah, from that, so I think all the new blocks look good. The new trial chambers, right, they showed off, like, there's going to be, like, this central room. There's going to be a bunch of, like, side rooms you can go off to that have, you know, trials. This is going to kind of be a combat update in a lot of ways. Because we have a new mob spawner. Is it just called the trial spawner? It's a new mob spawner that, and I think this is a great idea, actually. I think this is especially if, again, I feel like the golden age of adventure maps has been over for years now. Like, I can't think of anyone who's making adventure maps anymore. But, like, if you were making an adventure map, these trial spawners would be fantastic. Because what they do is, right, when you enter the room, they spawn in a bunch of mobs as part of the trial. So, like, the example will have it spawn in a bunch of strays. But then they revealed that, hey, guess what? It changes how many mobs spawn based on the numbers of players in the game. So, right, let's say you're just playing single player, it'll spawn like 4 strays. But if you're playing multiplayer with 2 people, maybe it'll spawn in 8 strays, or probably more likely 6, right? 3 players spawn in 8, right? It increases the number of mobs it spawns based on the amount of players playing. I think that's probably, you know, within a proximity of the trial. I think that's a great idea. Same thing with loot, right? Usually when you defeat something like this, it's like when you defeat the Wither, not everybody gets a Wither star. Only 1 player gets a Wither star for defeating the Wither. And these trial chambers, though, if you and your friends work together to defeat the trial, right, like we see it pop out like emeralds and diamonds, everyone gets those emeralds and those diamonds, right? Each player gets a reward for beating the trial. So you don't have to, like, divvy out the loot between 1 player. I think that's a fantastic idea. Right? These new trial spawners, actually, I think, are a great idea. And I'm interested to see where they go. So, yeah, no, I think that looks great. The new trial, I think they look good. You know, I like the idea of this new copper lamp. Or this new... Because that way you don't have to, like... The room has, like, an ambience to it. And you don't have to, like, light it up as you explore it. But in some rooms, it feels very dark. But I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of different trial rooms with, like, all sorts of things you will face. Right. We don't actually... We've only seen, like, a few of the rooms. So we'll find out more, you know, when this thing actually releases. In... They said a few weeks. So the other thing we got was a new enemy. In these trial rooms, there's going to be a new enemy called the Breeze. You know, like the blaze, it's like right? I've seen, like, snowball blazes. This is, hey, what if it was blaze, but for wind? So we're getting a wind attribute enemy. It's described as a more playful enemy, right? Like, that's how they describe it. And it pushes players around, like, it'll shoot, like, a gust of wind at you that'll, you know, do a bunch of knockback. It's gusts of wind, also, it's like the room you fight it in has traps in it. And so it looks like, right, these gusts of wind, as they whiz by like there's a floor of trapdoors. And when it whizzes by the trapdoors, it opens the trapdoor so any player standing on it will fall in. Or when it flies by, right, a redstone lamp, it lights up the light. So it gives, like, basically a passing redstone signal. I think that's a good idea. I feel like there's a lot of potential there, and people will do some very interesting things with that. So that's pretty cool. And I feel like, I don't know if this enemy, this Breeze, is supposed to be a boss. It really, based on its, like, size and shape and whatnot, it feels like maybe like a mini boss, you know, kind of like the Ravager. I guess that's the thing I like, because the Ravager isn't a boss, but it's got a lot of health, and it kind of feels more like a mini boss. So maybe I would guess I would compare it to that, right? Unlike, say, I do consider the Elder Guardian a boss. I know some people would probably also say that's a mini boss. I consider the Elder Guardian a boss. I consider the Warden it's the easiest of the bosses, obviously. But, right, the Warden, the Wither, and the Ender Dragon are also bosses. Of course, the Warden is not a boss you're supposed to fight, and that's what I think makes it very interesting, and that's why I like it so much. But that's a whole other thing. But I really do, if they're doing these trial chambers, if they're adding Legend of Zelda dungeons to the game, because that's what these effectively feel like. They feel like Zelda dungeons, right? This Breeze feels like our mini-boss. So, you know, I want an actual boss in this dungeon, right? And I would love for it to be something that use it, right? Because if these bosses are supposed to spawn in, like, special environments, in these, like, underground caves, I'd love for them to take advantage of that environment. You know, maybe there's something in the environment that you have to use to fight the boss. Or maybe it just works like Goma, where it climbs the ceiling and you have to shoot it with a bow and arrow because it's an eyeball boss. That'd be okay. But I would love to... It's been a long time since the last, like, official Minecraft boss has been added. Because, again, some people say the Warden doesn't count, some people say the Wither doesn't count, or the Elder Guardian, I mean. The Wither and Dragon are undisputed bosses. But the Warden and Elder Guardian are not. And I would love to see, like, a new, like, official boss with a boss health bar and everything. Because it's been a long time. And, you know, give it some... And, you know, for beating it, you get some cool new item. You know, I don't know what they're going to do with it. I hope the Breeze gives... I would love to see the Breeze give, like, a Legend of Zelda-style magic wand that does... It's like Breeze, right? That pushes back enemies from a distance. And then does the, redstone thing. Right? I would love to see it give something like that. That's, you know, like magic-based. And maybe instead of being... Maybe it's... Instead of having, like... durability, it's XP based, right? So it siphons from your XP. I don't know, do something like that. I don't want a magic meter added to the game, but that would be a cool thing to get. You know, some sort of actual reward for fighting this boss. I know, oh, the Mojang developers have to be wary about adding something that completely breaks the game. I mean, if you're giving it to the enemy, you can give it to the player. And, you know, make it more convenient than the fucking flame charge, which nobody uses outside of playing Lava Wall. And who plays Lava Wall anymore? Ugh. So, yeah. The other thing that was announced to be coming was there... And this actually has already released in Snapshot. I know people have already got access to this. They're adding an auto crafter to the game. I think that's a fantastic idea. You know, the auto crafter has been a big thing. Right? It's been in every mod, right? Auto crafting is such a huge thing. And Minecraft has had a lot of automation in its game, right? Ever since the introduction of the hopper. Which, do I kind of wish they would streamline some of that sometimes? Yes, but they're never going to. So instead, we got this new auto crafter. I don't know how it's how you make it, but yeah, I don't know how it works, right? Other than you put blocks in it. I don't know if you like most mods have you like set a recipe, and then you just feed blocks into it, and it'll make that recipe. Part of me thinks that because this is official Minecraft, it's going to be so much more fucking complicated than that, and it's going to be a much bigger pain in the ass to work with. But I think an auto crafter is a great idea. Again, mods have been doing it for decades now. It's good to see it in the official game, and I know some people will do some crazy stuff with it. Alright, like I already saw someone who made like an infinite kelp farm, where, you know, or basically an infinite furnace, right? There's a kelp farm, and then it cooks the kelp, and then crafts the kelp into kelp blocks. Some of the kelp blocks power the furnace cooking the kelp. The other half, you know, just gives you infinite kelp. It's an infinite kelp farm, right? Using this new auto crafter. And, you know, that's like the simplest thing. Like, I saw Mumbo Jumbo put out a video. I didn't even watch it, but I know he's going to do crazy shit with it. Right? Mods have been doing crazy shit with it. But also, like, part of why auto crafters are kind of necessary in mods is because there's so much new blocks that require so many new materials that if you were to do it all by manual, like by hand, it would take forever, right? I think of the fucking sextuple cobblestone from that from Stone Block, where it's like you need to compress cobblestone 10 times. And right, you need to take a double cobblestone, combine it with a triple, combine it with a 9 quadruple to make a septuple, so on and so forth. Right, just keep going. Right, there's nothing really like that in vanilla Minecraft. That, like, takes a bunch of things just to make one smaller thing. Also, I guess we also need a block placer now. Right, do we need a block placer and a block breaker, kind of like hopper, or, I mean, dropper / dispenser? I kind of feel like that's, right, if we're getting an auto crafter in this update, the next logical step is like an auto player, right? That's something that'll automatically break and something that'll automatically place blocks. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Right, where you can just you can make a fully automatic farm that just makes infinite bread, no questions asked, no player input. But I feel like Mojang doesn't want that, right? Like, that's not Mojang style. But it'd be cool. But yeah, people will do crazy things. Again, the snapshots, they said the snapshots are going to come out in a few weeks. They also, kind of like Minecon, right, last year when Mojang had their publicity problem where people were mad about the birch forest. Mojang's solution was just not to tell us anything. And of course, this year at Minecon, again, being tone deaf, they came out and were like, last year when we told players we weren't going to tell them anything, players seemed to really like that. That seemed to go over really well. So we decided to do that again. Yeah, just fucking tone deaf as always. Mojang just needs to get rid of Minecraft Live. The original purpose of Minecraft Live was an actual, like, Minecon. It was a convention. And that was cool, right? Going to Minecon. I remember the first Minecon in Las Vegas. That was really fucking cool. But now Minecon doesn't exist anymore. Nobody gives a shit about it. So you know what they need to do? They just need to get rid of Minecraft Live. And instead, they need to start doing Nintendo Directs. I mean, we always talk about Nintendo and how Nintendo does Directs so good. And, every once in a while, PlayStation does a good one. I don't think Xbox has ever actually done a good one. But even other studios, Devolver Digital and Yacht Club Games, have both found success by using the Direct format. And I feel like the Minecraft developers, like 2 or 3 times a year, just need to be like, hey, guess what? We're doing a Minecraft Live. Instead of being this big, like, live presentation with all these special effects nobody gives a shit about, with a musical performance people fucking hate, like that one time, that one of Sony's worst E3s where they hung people in bodies hanging over the stage and then played a fucking flute and a banjo. I'm pretty sure those were 2 different E3s. The flute and the banjo was one thing and the bodies were a different year. But honestly, Minecraft Live gives off that horrible, like, terrible E3 showcase energy. Like, I'm sure you could play an E3 drinking game at Minecraft Live, and I'm talking, like, old school, like, E3 drinking game. Gaff and everything. And you'd be fine. Even though it's a pre-recorded showcase, right? It's just nobody gives a shit about these showcases, and they need to stop making such a big fucking deal about them. And just do Nintendo Directs. Nintendo Directs work really well. People really like them and get hyped for them. But Mojang's problem is a PR problem. So of course they're not going to do that. Instead they're going to do these old showcases that feel rusty, that feel clunky. That give the Coke presentation a run for its fucking money. Okay, it's not that bad. The Coke presentation, the Coke Media Group presentation from, 2 years ago was awful. Just one of the worst things. It's not that bad, but it's still pretty bad. They just need... And do it, on a regular basis. I know, I say 2 to 3 times a year, because Minecraft usually puts out 2 updates a year. One in the summer, and one in the winter. And I think that's the perfect, times to do them. Because during the summer, Minecraft is still played by a lot of kids. So during the summer, all the kids are on summer break, so they can take that time to play Minecraft. And then during the winter, right, a bunch of kids get new consoles and whatnot for Christmas. And they also have time off because of Christmas. So I feel like doing a winter update is also a very good idea. But no, the summer, they announced that this new update will probably be coming early 2024. Which doesn't surprise me, but that's kind of what they seem to be doing. But we technically got a summer update. And yeah, anything else I'm thinking of? I can't. So they ended off the showcase with they talked about Minecraft parodies. Because, Minecraft music parodies used to be a big thing 10 years ago. And of course, again, this reminds me of that time Andrew WK came out and performed at a Bethesda showcase. Right? They brought off some guy, who I don't even remember his name, to sing a Minecraft parody of his own song. And it was just fucking awful. Did he actually do a bad job? I have no fucking idea. But just the way everything was set up, it was so fucking cringe. Oh my god, these showcases are just bad. Like, I don't hate any of the announcements. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't actually... Like, everything that was announced with his trial chambers for, what, 1.21 looks good. It's just the way they're presenting this information. It's just so cringe. And because Minecraft's biggest problem is PR, I don't think they're going to fix it. If I'm going to be truly honest with you, I don't think that's a problem they're going to fix that easily. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So yeah, it was Minecraft Live. You know, it was exactly what we expected. And fucking long live the revolution. Long live the revolution. May the Union live on. Solidarity forever. So, okay. So let's talk about Splat-o-ween. So, right, last week I said, hey, we're not going to get a Splat-o-ween. You know, they would have announced it by now. I think literally the next day they announced it. So if we come down here to the news channel, right, we see Splat-o-ween here. And you can come down here to the very... So they added 4 new costumes. An undead head, a swim reaper, a plankton walker, and a bleak beak. And so you can come down here. We got their we got Frey, Shiver, and Big Man costumes that look fantastic. These costumes look so good. I'm really glad they actually went the extra mile here to give us these. I love that Big Man one so much. And the Shiver Zombie actually looks pretty good as well. I love Frey's jewelry. I think the jewelry looks so good and matches the rest of her character aesthetic so well. These are fantastic. I'm so glad they did this. But, right, if you keep going down here, you can do Happy Splat-o-ween here. And yeah, I guess we have to close the software to restart it. And these should give us the items, and I want to say there's a new banner as well. I think this is great. People love the original Splat-o-ween event. Is the rest of the plaza gonna be like the original Splat-o-ween had like special decorations? Is this new Splat-o-ween gonna have special decorations? I don't think so, but I think what we're getting here is still cool nevertheless. I think a Plague Doctor's mask is such a cool get. I wish there was more like costume stuff that went with it. I bet we have to go to the kiosk. But right, you can... I wish the Plague Doctor's mask didn't have those 3 arrows on it. Other than that, I think it looks great. We saw the pirate hat. I'm sure the other costumes exist somewhere around here. Of course, there's the undead hat over there. Of course, we still have the witch's costume. You know, the witch's costume was cool. Oh, God, yeah, Sans the skeleton. I didn't even think about that. But no, I think Splat-o-ween is cool. You know, that's a cool... I'm glad they brought it back. Part of me didn't think it was going to happen at all. But yeah, we got all these 3 new costumes, 4 new costumes, and a new banner. That's really cool. I'm really glad they added that. Are we going to wear any of them? No. But, you know, I'll take them. So the other thing with Splatoon was right around this same time, they talked about the amiibo. And because the question was like, hey, what are we going to get with the amiibo? Because, you know, they announced the Frey, Shiver, and Big Man. And turns out we're getting their costumes, right? So, like, the Shiver costume is Shiver's shoes, her top, and her mask, right? Her shark mask. Frey's costume, right? Same thing. It's her shirt. It's her weird, like, they're like foot wraps or whatever. At least I think it's her foot wraps. And it's her mask, right? Her eel mask. Honestly, the Frey costume without the pants looks weird. I think it needs the pants are kind of integral to the costume. So I think it looks kind of weird without them. Just showing that Frey is actually a really good character design. And then the Big Man costume, right? It gives you his weird little mask. But it gives you a overcoat. That's, you know, supposed to be Big Man's, like, because, you know, there's not, like, a big, like, Big Man costume. No, it's like an overcoat, you know, kind of... If I wasn't stuck in the lobby, I'd kind of show you something. It's like a raincoat, basically. It's a raincoat, but painted Big Man colors. And I think it looks good. I think the Big Man set looks good. I love when they spawn him in the amiibo box, and he's too big to fit in the box, so he kind of like goes like around it. That looks very cute. It's cute little details like that. I'm excited. What can I say? I like the amiibo costumes. Like, they aren't anything amazing. They're very simple, very basic. But you know, they did all the other Splatoon idols, so we kind of had to get them. And I really thought the DLC was going to be coming out next month. I really thought like early November would just made sense, because you know we're gonna get an update around then. But nope. At least I think we're getting an update in November. I could be wrong about that. Let me see. Can I go to equipment real quick? So the big man one kind of looks like... I'll find it. Give me a second. I must have it. I have so many shirts and clothing and whatnot. I guess it's kind of like this. Imagine this, but in gray. Right? Gray with white stripes on it. Right? It's kind of like that. That's the easiest way I'd say to look at it. Yeah, I know. I'd say it's like that one. So I think, or, you know, I guess kind of like this. I think this is a similar outfit. I want to say it's more, though, like a raincoat. Like, you know, like this one. Yeah, it's like this one. So I think that's a cool get. You know, I think it'll make a good addition. Yeah. Any other news related to that? Not that I can think of. So the last minor news story we have is Nintendo Switch 2 bullshit. So, right, you know, people are always speculating, like, hey, any day now we're gonna get a Nintendo Switch 2. Oh, might the announcement be sooner than we think? Because what happened was, sometime over the past week, the original trailer, reveal trailer for the Switch, you know, the one that released in October of 2016, was taken off YouTube. Now, usually the only reason stuff like this gets taken off YouTube is, well, the main reason that people think of is that, oh, it's because of, you know, Nintendo's taking down the trailer so that way they can put up a trailer for a Switch 2. And Nintendo has done something like that in the past, right? Where they've taken down trailers for the old thing to put up a trailer for the new thing. Right, so originally, right, some people were like, oh, let's jump at the bit here, let's talk about this. Are we getting the Switch 2 announcement soon? My first thought was licensing. That was my first thought, and of course, I wasn't the only one to think that. Right, like the original article where I read about this, that was the first thing they mentioned. And their explanation was actually more complicated than mine. Because this trailer is, what, 6 years old, 7 years old now. I want to say it's 7 years old. It'll be, or it's either is 7 years old or it's coming up on 7 years old. So the thought was, oh, maybe the license for the music just ran out. So that's why they took the trailer down. Like, we had that story a few weeks ago about Knights of the Old Republic, where the trailer for the Knights of the Old Republic remake was taken down, and Sony claimed, oh, we just took it down because of the licensing for the music ran out. I still don't believe that. Like, I still think that's bullshit. But it might be true. And right, it might be true here as well. That's honestly the most likely scenario, is that it was taken down because the licensing for the music ran out. But I guess someone did some research and found out the band who wrote the song in the trailer. I don't remember the song name. It's something you know, it's by some indie band, like the White Stripe. It's not the White Stripes, but it's something I think it's got white in the name. It's something dumb like that, and it's a song like, it's something stupid like Summertime, Lovin' in the Summertime, right? Something dumb like that. So, it was like, okay, well, someone did some research and found out that the band who wrote that song is actually in a bit of legal trouble right now, and that Nintendo probably took the song down, or it took the trailer down, because of the song in the legal trouble. Would anybody have actually cared? Probably not, but there may be some legalese there that it might have something to do with the band not even owning the rights to their song, and because of that, Nintendo might not be able to use the song anymore. I don't know. There's some sort of controversy going on with the band right now. I don't remember all the details, but it's something along those lines, and that's probably why it was taken down. And that makes the most sense. I think all the people speculating about, oh, Switch 2, Switch 2. No. The earliest we're getting the Switch 2 trailer is March of next year. And the earliest I think it's releasing is probably, I would say October at the earliest, November at the latest, like late November. Because there were all those reports that, no, Nintendo could, if Nintendo wanted to, they could release the Switch 2 in March, but they actually delayed development, or, delayed release of the new console, with hopes that they will make enough consoles to fulfill demand. Because, one of Nintendo's biggest problems has always been supply and demand. They have such a high demand and such low supply. So if Nintendo delayed the release of their next console in order to try to reach a more reasonable demand, I think that's a great idea. Right? I think that's very good of Nintendo actually learning from their mistakes, which to be fair, they never have in the past. Right? Nintendo very rarely actually learns from their mistakes when it comes to hardware. I mean, or when they do, they take the wrong lessons. I mean, that's how we ended up with the Wii U in the first place. Don't get me wrong, the Switch is good, but the Switch came from different things. Okay, yes, and I guess Nintendo did learn a little bit of a lesson, but it's more complicated than that. So, yeah. It's not happening anytime soon. Just bursting the bubble right now. It's not happening anytime soon. And I'm not going to come back next week and be like, oh my god, did you guys see that Switch 2 trailer? Like, oh my gosh, I was actually wrong this whole time. I was wrong about Splat-o-ween. I've Cassandra'd my video games many of times. This is not going to be one of those times. I guess Nostradamus is the better term. But I like Cassandra more. I know Steph Sterling is the Cassandra of video games, and I'm not taking their title. But it's a good title. I'll give him that. It's a good fucking title. No, I'm actually probably looking for Nostradamus. That's actually making predictions that are wrong. That's probably the more apt thing. So, yeah, yeah, no, we're not getting a Switch 2 anytime soon. Even with Mario Odyssey, or with Mario Wonder being out, nah, it's not happening. So, I guess with that transition, let's take us to WIBE. So, I'm not going to talk about Mario Wonder. Or I am, but I'm going to talk about it last. I'm going to talk about other things first. I guess let's start in backwards order. So non-video game things. So there's that new. So if you've been to Macca's, right? They have two new sauces, like I think it's like Mambo or something like that, and then a sweet and spicy jam. I got a 10-piece nug. Tried them both. I honestly don't like either of them. The Mambo sauce is probably the better one. I don't know. It's got some spice to it, and I know some people will like that, but I don't really care for it. The spice doesn't really do anything for me, and the sweet and spicy jam just is kind of weird. Like, I'm out. Like, if I had to keep, like, I ate it with those 5 nuggets, and I'm like, okay, this is fine, I guess. But if I had to keep eat, like, if I had gotten a 20-piece, I don't know. I would have just wanted to go back to sweet and sour, man. I did not like that. In comparison, right? Sweet and spicy versus sweet and sour. Sweet and sour is so much better. Yeah, those are. I didn't care for them. Maybe if you like spicier stuff, maybe you'll like it. I hear the sweet and spicy jam is supposed to be like a breakfast thing, but I don't really get Macca's breakfast. I have, just not in a while. I honestly don't eat breakfast. Like, Like, I don't eat breakfast, like, at all. Like, the only time I really do is, like... Well, okay, there's this one place that has really good cinnamon rolls. A local place. And it's like, okay, you know, every once in a while I'll go get one of their cinnamon rolls. And then maybe, like, once a year I go get Macca's breakfast. And I go get Taco Bell breakfast. Because I did like their breakfast crunch wrap. And I remember wanting to go get one right when everything closed. Like, I was, like, craving one right when COVID started. And it was about a year before I could actually get one. Yeah, that was, like, my big COVID craving for some reason. Taco Bell breakfast. It's not actually... You know, I think the big reason why I don't care for breakfast is I don't like eggs. I'm just not an egg guy. So, you know, most breakfast food is... Like, I'm fine with eggs in other things, but I don't like eggs on their own. Right, scrambled, over easy, omelets, anything else. I just don't like eggs. Right? It's my eternal quest to get good at deep frying stuff. This was years ago. I had a quest to get good at deep frying stuff. And I just could never get it to taste right when I fried with eggs. Because the eggs were just too strong. And I felt like, I was like, oh my god, these eggs suck. And they were too powerful. And I felt like I was making like mozzarella sticks. Or like fried ravioli. And all I could taste was the fucking egg. And I was like, this ruins it. This ruins the whole thing. And then, you know, you try wet batter. And that... wet batter is a pain in the ass to work with. Whereas, you know, like, tossing them in breadcrumbs is easier, but... just wasn't giving me the results I wanted. What a mess. What a fucking mess. That was I say it's an eternal quest, but it's only because I gave up on it. Right? Like, unlike the grilled cheese thing, where I tried for years to make the perfect grilled cheese, and then just realized it's just Texas toast with a Kraft single is better than anything I will possibly ever make. And I just lost that battle forever. Right? Kraft singles will beat out any, like... outside of, you know, making my own cheese, which I never tried. Everything else I tried, nothing was as good as the Kraft single. I was just... And that was a quest that ended both in success and failure. Like, it was a bittersweet victory, I guess. But, no, the frying stuff I just gave up on. Like, that was... Ugh, God. Ugh. I do like fried ravioli, though. There's this... Trader Joe's has an air fryer ravioli. It is so fucking good. But they only... in, like, a package, there's only, like... 6 of them. That's an exaggeration. There's more than 6. But they are not big packages. And they're like, God, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like $8 a pack because it's Trader Joe's. They're really fucking good. I haven't had them in at least a year. Yeah, those are so good. Yeah. We were talking about Macca's, right? I don't know. Their sweet and spicy jam might be good on breakfast stuff, but I'm not gonna get their breakfast anytime soon. I don't even know what you put jam on. What, a biscuit? Do they have biscuits? I almost went to Popeyes because I know they have this new like truff, like spicy mayo thing, and I'm like, ooh, you know, that might be good because Popeyes is the best chicken sandwich. And I was like, ooh, that might be good. But I really didn't want to wait an hour in line. That sounded... because Popeyes is always busy. It's always busy. And they refuse to make one closer. There used to be one. There used to be one, like, right up the... not right up the street, but, you know, not far away at all. And then it just wasn't doing well. And then the chicken sandwich wars happened. And now Popeyes is super popular again. I have the only winning move is not to play. So I don't. So other than that, right, strike's still going on. It's not going well. Guess what? Surprise, surprise. Right? The studios are still being fucking assholes. Disney put out a film called, like, Prom Pact or something, and there's a shot of the audience. And, like, and, like, it's like a shot of, like, a basketball team. But the characters, like, right behind the basketball team are, like, made using CGI and AI, and they look like fucking Sims characters. It looks awful. So, yeah, the strike ain't going well, because, you know, corporations want to use an actor's likeness till the day they die. And we're not going to let that happen. So, strike's going to keep going on, you know. The one thing, the new season of Life, I want to say it's is it season 5? It might be season 4, but I think it's season 5 of Life. So, right, you know, I attribute to Green, right? Green's Life series. This time it's called Secret Life. And hey, Mumbo Jumbo's back in it. And that's the perspective I've been watching. I was watching Mumbo's perspective for the first episode, as he builds his sideways house. But yeah, the whole idea is like, hey, every episode you're given a challenge, and if you complete the challenge, then you get more life, right? You get more hearts, because you start off with like 30 hearts, but every time you take damage, you lose a heart, and you don't regenerate it. And it's like, okay, so that's interesting, right? Still the whole 3 life system. Simple, but I can see how this works. And so, yeah, in Mumbo's challenge was to make puns. So they're not always about, like, stuff you do in-game. Sometimes it's about stuff you do, like, there's both, I'm guessing, like, building challenges. So spoiler alert for the first episode, I guess. There seem to be both building challenges and social challenges. So, like, B00, for example, gets a building challenge where he has to make an ugly base. Right? He has to make an ugly, inefficient, hard-to-access base. And Mumbo, meanwhile, gets a social challenge. Scar gets 2 social challenges. Because, right, they can't tell anybody what their challenge is. Right? You just kind of gotta do it and try to get other people to play along with your bits. Because that's what it effectively is. Like, Scar wins his second challenge after he fails his first one because of a bit. So, yeah, I think it's interesting, you know, as long as there's a healthy mix of, like, both social and, like, you know, in-game challenges, I think it'll work out fine. Yeah, I'm excited. And yeah, it is cool to see Mumbo in it again. Will I probably go watch Green's perspective at some point? Because usually I do. Yes, but... You know, a new season of Life is always good. Especially after they tried to... Like, some of them tried to do that, like, weird spin-off where they were, like, playing with mods. Was it called New Life? I don't remember what it was, but, like, they were like, oh... Like, I remember Pearl's perspective, and it was like, oh, she's a copper golem. And it was like, okay, you know, it's an okay idea, but it was more of, like, an SMP... like, you know, like Hermitcraft or Dream SMP or something like that. And less of a, like, what the rest of the Life series is. And that just made it less interesting. Right? Like, the Life series is a very... At this point, I'm going to say it's a tried and true, rather effective formula. Right? Like, it's not as polished as, like, Survivor, but it still works really well. I got 3 kills. So yeah, I was watching that. So I guess let's talk about games. Again, we're saving Mario Wonder for last. Let's start with Trombone Champ. So I played I was playing Trombone Champ. I had started it a while ago. And I finally did beat it. I only had to look up... I had to look up 2 things, but in the process of looking up one thing, I found the solution to both the things I was looking for, even though I didn't realize I needed the second one. So, spoiler alert for Trombone Champ. So, right, throughout the game, you help out. You know, after you get 4 S ranks, you can help out this baboon. And after you help out the baboon, you start unlocking things. Then there's like then eventually the clef turns evil or whatnot. And there's like an evil baboon you can help out. And then you can trade your cards and deals with the devil to get new trombones. To get like this, all of this I just figured out by naturally playing. I didn't know any of this. So, because, you know, there are little hints about these. Like when you go onto the card screen, you see the shaking cards. And you're like, okay, this is a hint at something. And, you know, I eventually figured out, like, hey, that's what this is a hint towards. Right? Like, oh, this is leading me towards this is leading me towards that. Right? I figured most of it out. So you get you get these 2 keys, you get the champion's trombone, you get this baboon mask, I want to say for doing the evil baboon stuff. And it's like, okay, this all makes sense. And then the final boss, right? You take these 2 keys, unlock a door to fight Tromzone. And then it's like this really hard final boss fight. And I was like, okay, the first time I did it, I just had the mask. So I took the mask and I was like, okay, let's use this. And boom, it didn't work. But in the end credit scene, they're like, once you get a higher power level and you get the champion trombone, you'll be able to beat it. And I was like, okay. And by this point, I hadn't even finished all the songs yet. So I went back, I finished all the songs, I got a bunch more cards, made the deals with the devil to get the champion trombone. And then having the bamboo mask and the champion trombone. Also, my grind song, I don't know, I feel like most people use like the space song to grind. Taps. The, you know, military song. That's the song you grind on. Especially on Turbo. The song takes like 20 seconds. And you get like 400 points. On even like a semi-bad run. Like a C rank still gives you like 400 points. That's the song you grind on. Oh, I played Taps so many times. So, right, I did all that, I grinded, I played every song, and then I was like, okay, with all this done, I can now finally go beat Tromzone. Nope, sure enough, I couldn't. It was giving me the same message. You did damage, but you didn't kill him. Get level 10. And when it says ally yourself with the baboons, I was like, oh, that's the mask, right? That's the baboon mask. And I couldn't figure it out. So eventually, after trying a few more times, experimenting with a few things, I was like, okay, how do I get this level 10 thing? And so when I looked it up, it was like, oh, you have to get 10 hot dog cards. And, like, if the hot dog, when I open the card menu, right, like, when you open the card menu and you have the Tromzone card, and you have the treble clef or whatever it is, right, the cards shake to indicate, like, hey, there's something special here. The hot dog card does not shake until you get 10 of them. And it only shakes, like, while you're clicking on it. Whereas the other cards shake, like, while you're in the menu. I wish there was some sort of indicator there. Because, like, yes, on the card, it says people who possess hot dogs have powers. So, like, there is a hint there, but I don't feel like it's that good of a hint. I wish there was more of an indicator to be like, hey, this is, right, you gotta get these 10 hot dogs. Just something that pointed out, like, hey, this is more significant. And then the other thing, that, to be honest, I didn't even test not doing this, but when I looked up how to do this in the 10 hot dogs, it also said, hey, you have to go into your settings, right, the game's settings, which I'd never even looked at before, and turn on these, like, 2 baboon, there's, like, in the settings menu, there's a section labeled baboon, and there's, like, 2 settings that I don't think actually do anything. At least it didn't seem like they do anything, but I'm pretty sure you have to turn them on to beat the final boss. I didn't test not doing that, obviously. I probably should have, you know, just to see. But the guide I read had that, and I don't know if I would have ever figured that out either. Like, maybe if I had gotten really desperate. That one, honestly, I probably could have figured out if I had just gotten really desperate. But I don't know how I would have figured out the hot dog one. The hot dog one made no sense to me. Alright, well, I mean, yeah, there are technically hints. I just wish there was... I wish it was a little bit more straightforward, I guess. But, so I did that. I did the final boss fight against Tromzone, got my ass kicked. But, you know, even though the song's really fucking hard, you know, as long as you give it the old college try, you'll still win. So I beat Tromzone and beat the game. And yeah, I liked it. You know, honestly, I'm sure the game is a lot easier on PC. You can also mod the game on PC, which is really neat. Like, I've seen mods of, like, the Skyrim song or Persona 5 music and whatnot. Right? And there's, like, a bunch of other stuff. Right? So I've seen mods, and I think mods are a great thing. But, yeah, the game is probably easier on PC, but I'd probably argue the Switch version is more fun. The motion controls are stupid, but, like, that's kind of the point, and I think that's very fun. Right? Same thing with the IR sensor thing. Like, it barely works, but it's stupid, and I like that. So, yeah, I would personally argue the Switch version is probably superior. Yep, that's going to be a hot take from me. I would say this, even though the PC version has mods, and is probably easier, I like the Switch version more. There's just something about that having a stupid control scheme that I think makes the game better. Right? It makes it more fun. Right? And I did play it multiplayer. I think I talked about this before. I did a match with 4 other players. And yeah, it was chaotic and it was fun. You know, it's one of those games that's very easy to pick up and learn and hard to master. I recommend Trombone Champ. Do not be surprised when it ends up on the Game of the Year list. Because it's been like it's been one of the best years for gaming ever, right? Like I know everybody kind of knows it at this point, but it's one of the best years for gaming ever. Like definitely the best year since at least 2008, which you know was the year like Mario Galaxy and BioShock came out. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I want to say, maybe 3, but I want to say 2. Great year for gaming, 2008. So yeah, it's probably either as good, if not better than that year. We've had some fantastic stuff this year. And Trombone Champ came out last year. And so did the other game I played, Vampire Survivors, came out last year. Well, technically I think it came out in like December 2 years ago. Or something like that. But I only played it last year. So, Vampire Survivors, I mentioned last week that I was only like 10 challenges away from, you know, having everything. And I have now completed those 10 challenges. I did a few other... there were like a few other things I had to do. I figured out how to do the 10,000 enemies. Right? Eventually, you gotta turn on all these, like... there's like this skull... and like this, like... it's like the Skull of Mania... and there's like this bottle that you can turn on in the upgrades menu. I think it's called upgrades. Right, you need to turn on those. You need to turn off like hyper, and you might be able to do it in endless, but I don't think so. But there are certain things you have to do. And then eventually you're able to do 10,000. I want to say I even doubled. I want to say I did 20,000 once, if not twice. I did some crazy thing, and I do want to show some. I have some clips that I do want to show because I had some things happen. I had some wild runs, but yeah, I did all 10 of those challenges, and then I guess I beat the game. I technically have not 100%ed it because I forgot about secrets, and there's like 18 secrets, and I'm trying not to use any because you can like just unlock the secrets with codes. But you also get the secrets by doing certain challenges in levels, right? Like, if you do certain things... like, there's one where you have to, like, get these 2 items, then follow this, like, trail of pie. And at the end of it, you unlock a secret, right? It's like a secret character or something. So, right, I'm trying not to look up any of those. Or, at least the one time I tried to, I didn't really get a good answer. Right? Like, it didn't really give me the solution to my problem. So, I probably just have to Google it better, you know? But other than that, right, I'm missing, like, a few, like... I want to say I'm missing maybe 6 at the high end. Yeah, like 6 at most. Out of, like, 18. And then once I've done that, I have 100% of the game. Okay, I would say that, but they actually released a new update, I want to say yesterday, that added in a new weapon, that added in, I want to say, a new level. So they just added in some new stuff, so I'm going to have to go do that. But that's like, oh, new content, cool. And, you know, I'm just waiting for the director's cut, which I do hope gets released eventually at some point. It's a very good game. And the director's cut has some very interesting things in it from the Laura Kate Dale video. But we'll see. So, yeah, Vampire, again, it's going to be another one of those games where it's like, I said last year that Vampire Survivors would have been on my Game of the Year list if it wasn't for the fact that I hadn't played it that much. Right? I played it, I just didn't play it that much. This year, I actually played it, and it's going to make it onto the list. It's just a question of how high, because this is one of the best years in gaming, and it's a great game. It is a great game. But yeah, so I write 100 hours. Am I actually going to get to that 100 hours before the end of the year? Probably not. I think I'm at like 50 right now. Maybe 60 at most, but I think I'm at like 50. So I've still got a lot of time. Of course, some crazy things did happen, and you'll see here in a second. But yeah, it's a really good game. It is really good. I don't regret any of the time I've put into it. And I've put a lot of time. It's not the most time I've put into any game this year. I don't think, but it's a lot of time. I want to show some of my clips. I guess let's. Oh, okay. So there's a certain. So you're epilepsy warning. Let's just put an epilepsy warning up right now, because some of these clips are going to be fucking crazy. So there's a certain thing in this game where, as you're eventually when enough bullshit is on the screen, you eventually are able to like move through walls. I don't entirely know how it works, but there's a way to move through walls in this game that I don't entirely get. But you know, you're able to do it. And so I was playing through, I think this is the Inverse Library, or the Inlaid Library, something like that. It's like the Inverse Inlaid Library, or something like that. And the first time I played this level, I was like, oh, the only way to move around, because it's this giant open space, is to get enough of this bullshit on screen that you're moving through the walls. Eventually I found out there's doors you can walk through, but on one of my attempts, so this one here, I was able to move through the walls, and then I got stuck. Right, I made it to this place. Right, it pushed me through the wall, but then there wasn't enough stuff on screen to keep me moving through the wall, so I just got stuck here. Yep, I just got fucking stuck here. And there was nothing I could do. I don't remember how I got out of this. At some point, I think like something killed me, or like some boss or something, but this was bullshit. I was not happy with this, because it was a good run other than that. I know we're only like 11 minutes in, but other than that, everything was going really well. So this is me breaking 10,000 enemies. Look at all this shit I have on screen. And I went and picked up the rings and the 2 like arrows just to get more shit to spawn. But yeah, this level almost 300. And I did it after like 10 minutes. Or, almost, I did it under 20 minutes. This was a bonkers run. But it did work out, right? I did hit it. And I want to say I double it. Oh, okay. So this was finally after, because this was one of the 10,000 achievements, or the 100,000 achievements, were the last 3 achievements I got in this game. So getting this one was a pain in the ass. And the next one, one of the last achievements I got was to kill all the Sammys. So I came here and I was like, oh, okay, I'll kill all 6,000. you have to kill like 6,000 Sammys. Notice my time here. Normally, a run ends after 30 minutes unless you have the laurel and the... It's like a laurel that evolves into a red cloak, and then like a clock that... Or then like a... It's called like a clock turn or something like that, that evolves into a ring. But somehow, on this run, even though I don't have either of those... Right, any of those items up there, somehow this run just kept fucking going. And I didn't get it, right? I didn't know why this run just kept going. Why it wouldn't end. I couldn't figure it out, right? We're 58 minutes in. And I was like, did somehow my combination of items just, like, break the game? Because I'm in the room where, there's, like, a hidden room where all the Sammys spawn. So I was going crazy. Is this... That's just a screenshot. Here I am about to break 100 minutes. Yeah, this took forever. And now, so what's going on here? Why am I not dying, even though I have the laurel? Why am I not killing any of these Grim Reapers? Well, I did some Googling, and I find out. So if I go back 2 clips, you see, when I kill these Sammys... let's see if I can... I'm going to try to pause it on the scene where you can see one. You can... So if you look right... If you take this giant blob in the center, and look kind of... You know where my character is standing right here? If you go to the eyes and go directly right, you see like a little pie. Turns out when you eat those pies, you get a few seconds of invincibility. And the invincibility stacks. So as long as you're in the Sammy room, every time you kill a Sammy, it has like a 10% chance of spawning one of these pies, which makes you invincible. And I had spent 60 minutes in this Sammy room. So I stacked hundreds of these pies, right? And I didn't know until I Googled it. So that's why right in the... Is it the next clip? No, it's not this. It's... Yeah, in this next clip, you can see I've left the Sammy room because I figured that out. And now I'm just waiting for my invincibility to end. So, right, I think this is the clip where invincibility ends. It's either this or the next one. And I want to say at some point, I just walked away and left the game alone. But look how every minute after 30 minutes, a Grim Reaper spawns. Look how many there are. There are hundreds of these Grim Reapers. And yeah, so we're over 2 hours at this point. We're over 2 hours on this one level. And I'm going to guess it's finally going to end here. Because for some reason, without the clock or the laurel, you can't kill one of these Grim Reapers. You need one of those items. So there we go. Finally ended after an hour and 27 minutes. Right, look at all this shit. It was a wild run. It was a wild run. And I, like, walked away at one point. And came back, like, 20 minutes later. And nothing had changed. Like, after I figured out the Sammy thing, yeah, I left and came back. Nothing was different. And then that's me beating Trombone Champ, and yeah. So yeah, Vampire Survivors, a truly wild game that I absolutely love. I know that all is Diarrhea Christmas Lights, but easy recommendation. It's easy recommendation. Even if you know, it's on mobile, and it's honestly, the mobile port is fantastic. It's a great mobile port. There are no microtransactions. There are ads, but the ads are so minimal. They're not intrusive at all. One of the best mobile games you could probably get. High recommendation. Have we only gotten this map? I do not like this map. So yeah, I love Vampire Survivors, and I was happy to play more of it. And I'm excited, and you know, now that the new update's out, you better believe I'm excited to play more of that. So yeah, great game. Great game, easy recommendation. But yeah, I just have those last few secrets to get, and then I'm done. For now. You know, for now. So I guess, so the last thing we have is Mario Wonder. So Mario, right, both Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2 came out today. I did pick up both games. Yep. I picked up both. I actually got Spider-Man for a reduced price because of a whole thing with Walmart, but that's another story for another time. But I got it for cheaper, so that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to pick that one up, and I was obviously going to pick up Mario. Because, you know, I've kind of, you know, Mario, I don't know what, you know, I feel like there was a point in, like, the 2000s where just people didn't give a shit about Mario. Nintendo didn't give a shit about Mario. Like, that's where a lot of the boring New Super Mario Bros. Games come from. And those aren't even bad games. Like, New Super Mario Bros. On DS does not get enough credit for how creative it is. And then the Wii game is very fun. I, in theory, loved the gimmick of the 3DS game. It's just they didn't do anything with it. And then U is just a very... Yes, is it very generic? Totally. But is it very polished? Kind of to a fault? Also, yes. I replayed New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe earlier this year. I played the Deluxe version for the first time, not that that really matters. And you know what? I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I 100%ed it. Which I had never actually done before. Right? I'd never 100%ed the Wii U version. And that was a lot of fun. And I look forward to 100%ing this new game. But yeah, I feel like Mario's kind of been, right, in the 2000s and 2010s, Mario was kind of in a rut where he wasn't really doing anything that interesting. Everything, right, there were fun games, but it just, none of it was, you know, mind-blowing or revolutionary. Which you can definitely, right, games like Super Mario World and Mario Galaxy, right, you can call revolutionary. I wouldn't call some of these games revolutionary. But now, Mario kind of feels like he's in a renaissance. You know, we're getting a lot of new, right, between the Mario Brothers movie, some remakes of some classic RPGs. The Mario Kart 8 DLC has been fantastic. The newest Mario Party was pretty decent. I liked the golf. Was the golf game amazing? Are the sports games probably the biggest problem with Mario right now? Yeah, probably. But I like that golf game. No, I feel like Mario has some, you know, through a combination of things, regained a lot of his brand image over the past few years. And the movie especially, like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to say anything, but movie, right, that definitely helped things. And so going into Mario Wonder, it's like, no, this is great. There's a lot, like, the art style, right? Like, part of me was, when the game was revealed, I was like, okay, I love the new art style. They seem to be doing new things. But it also just feels a lot, like, it kind of reminds me a lot of New Super Mario Brothers. Like, did they actually do enough new? And playing it, having now actually played it, I've only put, like, maybe 2 hours at most into it. So I'm very early on. I would say that, yeah, they have done more than enough new stuff here. The amount of new enemies, new concepts, right, the Wonder Seed stuff. Get some really interesting things out of this game. The badges. The badges are great, right? There are the, right, like, they've taken some influence from Spectre of Torment, of all games. At least that's the, I'm sure that's been used in other places, but Spectre of Torment is the first one that comes to mind, right? Getting that Shovel Knight Shovel Knight influence in there. And it really helps out. The new badges, I think, are fantastic. They're exactly what I wanted them to be. Right, they're not, like, revolutionary, but they shake up things just enough that I'm like, this is cool. I still don't like the life system. I feel like life systems are archaic, but, you know, it hasn't actually been a problem. I've only lost, like, a few lives at most. The online works really well, actually. I have had no lag whatsoever. You know, there was one level. So, spoiler alert for early game. Again, like the first 2 hours. At one point, there's like, it's like called like a maze level, where there's these basically like like red coins hidden in a level, and you have to find them, right, hidden in this level. But because if you're playing it online, the other people playing online can like help you. So right, like I was playing it, and like there were like 2 or 3 other people in the level. And, like, as I was, like, going through, I was like, oh, hey, look, there's, like, a hidden block here. And sure enough, right, the other guy who was right with me also went up that hidden block. Or I couldn't find one of them. And turns out there was another hidden block in a different part that this other guy showed me. And then I showed him a different thing, right? We kind of, like, swapped where we found the red coins. They're not red, they're, like, flower coins. But you get my point, right? Like, there's this whole level of, like, cooperation that is encouraged, that, you can figure out without it, but there's definitely this level of, like, encouragement. So it's like, oh, that's right, that's really neat. Just playing through the level and then having other people, like, playing through the level alongside you to, like, not even, like, help you out, just, like, to be there. And they can. Like, there was one level where, right, we're jumping along, someone becomes a ghost, I revive them, 2 seconds later, I die, and they revive me. And I was like, oh, that's neat. So yeah, the multiplayer stuff actually works fine. I haven't tried playing it with friends, obviously. Like, I'm betting if the online works fine, I'm sure just playing with friends will work fine. But you know, for these 2 hours, it's been good. It's a good game. I love all the new shit. I love the new enemies. The new wonder effects I have been enjoying. There's some weird ones where I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I guess we're doing this. I guess we're gonna fucking... Do I want to say that? Nah, I think I'll let you guys discover that. But right, there's some good ideas here. And, you know, does it follow, you know, the Mario pattern of grass world, desert world, ice world, water world, what's the other? Grasslands, desert, water, ice, something, and then fire world. Does it follow that pattern? Yes. But am I still enjoying it? Yeah, I mean, technically it kind of shakes things up, because it throws the water world at you second, and then but then it kind of also throws the snow world at you second. It's a little complicated. The new open world, where like, oh, you're open into this area and you can do like any of like 3 or 4 levels at a time. That works fine. Collecting the purple coins, I think, is a good idea, right? Having an actual currency that you can spend like Mario Odyssey, much like Mario Odyssey, actually works really well. Right, there are the small purple coins and the big purple coins. Everything is just really refined to work really well. I have been for what little I have played of it, I have been enjoying it. The physics work fine, right? It plays just like Mario, you know, like you'd expect it to play. The new animations, all the new little animations the characters have look fantastic. The new art style looks great and fits perfectly. The new elephant transformation is fine. I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, this works. It's not like a big, like, revolutionary thing, right? But, you know, it works. Same thing with, I haven't gotten to the drill, but the bubble also works. I've gotten to the bubble, and the bubble works fine. Right? It does, you know, it does remind me a lot of a Kirby game. That's the right. I know I compared it to Kirby Squeak Squad a few times, but really a lot of things do make, like, even just like level design wise, right? It feels like a Mario game, but there are elements where I'm like, yeah, this would feel right at her home in a Kirby game, right? I definitely feel like this Mario game has taken some influence from Kirby, and that's a good thing because Kirby also has some really well designed levels. So that's been cool to see. I can't, like, it's weird. I'm having trouble thinking of, like, a specific where I was like, oh yeah, I saw that and that felt just like a level in Kirby or something like that. Like, it's kind of hard to explain that, but playing it, no, that feels like a very good comparison. One example is, there's parts where you can go into the background. Right, where you enter a warp pipe in the foreground, and it spits you out in the background, which kind of reminds me of Triple Deluxe. There's an example, right? Because Kirby Triple... I know that's not the first game to do that. Technically, a Mario game did that on the Virtual Boy, but we don't talk about that. But no, I definitely... The way they do it in this game reminds me of Kirby Triple Deluxe, which is, there's a rumor right now that we might actually get a Triple Deluxe remake because the trademark for Triple Deluxe specifically was renewed like a few weeks ago. And, you know, on one hand, I'd be like, okay, cool. You know, I'd love a Triple Deluxe re-release. But I specifically want them to re-release Triple Deluxe in Planet Robobot. Because Planet Robobot does not get enough credit. Because it came out during the dark year of Nintendo, you know, the year Chibi Robo Ziplash, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, Paper Mario Color Splash came out, right? 3 not very good Nintendo games. And then the best Kirby game came out that year. So I feel like Planet Robobot does not get enough credit. I'd love to see both it and Triple Deluxe get a remake. Right, 2 games for the price of 1, that would be fantastic. But I still kind of want an Amazing Mirror and Squeak Squad remake as well. Like, I feel like both of those games should also get remakes. Even though we did just get Amazing Mirror released on Virtual Console, which is cool. But I don't think we're going to get Squeak Squad anytime soon. That's why I say that. But no, honestly, the Switch is probably the best place to play Kirby right now. Because, at least for mainline games, there's only like 3 or 4 that you can't play. The Superstar Deluxe, Triple Deluxe, I think it's called Superstar Ultra. Superstar Ultra, Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot, Nightmare in Dreamland, which I'm sure Nightmare in Dreamland will be added eventually. Right. I'm sure Nightmare in Dreamland will come out sooner or later. Yeah, the Switch is a great... Kind of like how it's a great place to play Pikmin, it's a great place to play Kirby. It's a great place to play games in general. There's been all this talk about whether the new Switch is going to be backwards compatible. It better fucking be. I know there was this thing where it's like, hey, the new Switch might not be backwards compatible because it doesn't have a cartridge slot. At least they're going to sell a model with and without a cartridge slot. But that just because it doesn't have a cartridge slot doesn't mean it's not backwards compatible for digital games, right? The new thing better be backwards compatible or Nintendo fucked up, right? That'd be one of Nintendo's biggest blunders. Especially because, you know, you could launch the new Switch and be like, hey, here's Mario Odyssey 2. But then also be like, hey, we've got updated versions of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We've got updated, give free updates for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Right? That's just, getting up for people, because there is a percentage of the population who never owned a Switch. And who have maybe in recent months been considering it, but are like, oh, maybe I'll just wait for the Switch 2. So having, a new console launch and all the games from the previous console still be playable, like, it's a no-brainer. But, it's fucking Nintendo, and they sometimes don't have brains. Right? The entirety of Nintendo only has a single brain cell. So, right, and that one single brain cell was used to make Mario Wonder. But as a result, right, now we're getting a fucking Wario game that nobody cares about. I'm sure somebody out there is excited for that. But it ain't me. It ain't me. Even though I have liked some previous Wario games. That's another story for another time. So this will be our last match. Yeah, I think this is a good final one. Get us to level 25. Yeah, Mario Wonder is really good. Right, I feel like it's a Mario game, so it's gonna sell like hotcakes anyways. But yeah, just in like 2 hours I've been playing it, I have been enjoying it. So yeah, anything, at least for the moment, anything else I gotta say? No, not really. It's just, it's been a good game. It's been a good look. It looks good. It plays good. I'm excited for more. I'm excited to get back into it. I'm sure I'll put a bunch more time into it. And it's a Mario game, so they're infinitely replayable. And then there's that speedrun badge, which I wonder how speedrun.com is going to do that. I wonder if they're going to do like two separate categories, one with the badge and one without. Like, you know, with or without the badge from the start. I'm sure that's how they'll break it up. And because there are definitely uses for other badges. Like there's this was in the trailers. There's a dolphin kick badge. And it's like in water levels, I'm sure that dolphin kick badge is going to be better than any other, right, than the actual like speedrun badge. Just because of how the dolphin kick works. Probably anyways. So yeah. Anything else I gotta say for now? No, I've been enjoying it. It's a good game. I'm also going to be curious to see what the speedrun path is going to... Because, you know, if it, like the new Super Mario Brothers games, I want to say you can beat those games by only playing like 12... I want to say it's 12 levels. It only takes 12 levels to beat one of those games. Because you play the first 2 levels, that jumps you to World 4. Then I want to say you play like 3 or 4 levels in World 4, and that jumps you to World 7. And then you play like 1 level in World 7, which jumps you halfway through. Then you play like 2 or 3 more levels, and then you just do like 4 levels in the final world. It might be closer to 16. It's somewhere between like 12 and 16 levels to beat the entire game. And I'm going to guess the game has like 70 to 80 levels. So, right, you can beat New Super Mario Brothers very quickly. And I'm kind of going to be curious, are those, like, shortcuts that are in the New Super Mario Brothers games that, you know, are that callbacks to the original games, right? Are those going to be in this new one? I don't know, and I haven't seen anything so far. I did find one secret exit. So I know secret exits do exist, but it didn't do anything. Or at least, I don't think it did anything. I don't remember it doing anything. No, I think it... Nah, I can't actually be sure about that. Never mind, I can't actually be sure about that. It might have done something. So yeah, I guess that takes us to the outro. So, what is the plan from here? So far we've been working on the road to Spider-Man 2. We played through the entirety of the original Spider-Man, and then so we did all that, right? We didn't 100% it, but we did a lot of things. And then the plan was, okay, now that we've beaten it, you know, let's start Miles Morales. Because I didn't plan on playing the new one on stream. I was still going to play it off stream, but on stream, I didn't plan to play the new Spider-Man until I had already played through it myself, right? Basically, I wanted my playthrough on stream to be my second playthrough. At least that was my plan, right? That was how I was going to do it in my head. But now that the game has actually released, and right, I have it, I've downloaded it on my PlayStation console, I'm starting to kind of question myself. I'm like, no, should I actually stream it? Because there's a part of me that wants to get my initial reaction to the game on stream. That, right, wants to see these potentially crazy things happen. Right? Some of the stuff that's kind of been hinted, and some things have been spoiled for me. 2 shirtless things have been spoiled, and that fucking sucks. Because the internet cannot keep its fucking mouth shut for even 2 goddamn hours without spoiling something. And it pisses me off to no end, but that's the internet, a fucking cesspool of crime and villainy. I sadly expect nothing less from those cunts. But no, there are some, right, part of me is like, okay, I kind of want to get my reaction to this live. But then does it, like, really matter if I get my reaction to this live? Like, is that actually a big deal? Because, like, I'll never go back and watch it, right? Like, that's not really a big thing. But, because, it all comes down. Okay, it all comes down to this simple thing. Part of me internally thinks that I would have had more fun with Tears of the Kingdom if I hadn't played it on stream. Right? That I enjoyed Tears of the Kingdom. I think it's a fantastic game. But I think that if I hadn't played it on stream, I would have liked it more. In my heart of hearts, that is my truth. And so because of that, I've kind of been hesitant with new, right? Specifically after Pikmin. I still feel like I got a good Pikmin 4 experience. And I don't think I regret that one. I don't think I do. But there's part of me that's like, oh no, I kind of don't want to play new games on stream. Because I kind of feel like because playing a game on and off stream are very different experiences, right? Playing it with a live audience is very different. Right? It's like why I haven't, like, even though I've put a bunch of hours into Vampire Survivors, I've only played it on stream for like 2 hours. Because, you know, well, it's been a podcast game for me. But also, right, it's a different experience. Right? I feel like I can do a lot more off stream. And that's all, since I've started streaming. I've always been told, like, you know, it's fun to play games on stream, but it can be exhausting. You need to take time for yourself and play games off stream as well. And I agree with that. But, I don't know. There's just something about me that's like, yeah, you know, I kind of want to get my initial reaction to Spider-Man. I think that'd be cool. And, like, I'm gonna whether I play it on stream or not, I do plan on getting the platinum. Right? That's regardless of whether I play it on stream or not. Whereas Zelda, I probably would have done more if I wasn't streaming it. Right? Like, I would have had more time to... if I hadn't streamed Zelda, I probably would have found every shrine. Whereas, as streaming it, I think we missed, like, 20. I think? Might have been less than that. I kind of don't remember. But, like, the Spider-Man game, I definitely... And I also hear you can 100% it in, like, 30 hours. Which is not bad at all. That's nothing, right? Zelda, we put, 80 hours into... And there was still so much more to do. So, right, and like Pikmin. We took 25 hours to beat Pikmin. And I was fine with that, and we did everything, and it was great. So, I'm real... If tomorrow I come on and I'm not... Because we were going to stream Miles Morales. I said that last week. But if we come on tomorrow and I am streaming Spider-Man 2, do not be surprised. Because that's probably going to happen. Realistically, in my head, that's how I'm thinking about it. And then we'll go back and do Miles Morales. Because again, I didn't plan to do the new one for a while. And honestly, reading some of the reviews hasn't helped. That's the other thing, is I feel like reading some of these reviews, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to, now do that. It's the internal struggles, man. So I guess we'll figure it out when we get there. I mean, like, what else are we gonna do? I don't know. But I did spend like an hour downloading, because I got a disc version. So I spent like an hour downloading it. And I'm like, oh, I could start playing it right now. But no, I'm gonna play Mario Wonder, and tomorrow, whether I stream it or not, tomorrow. Because it's summertime, and you know what that means. Gonna head down to the beach, gotta do some bitchy things. I've had that song stuck in my head. I don't know. I was probably just, scrolling through TikTok, seeing one of those Subway Surfer videos with illegal content stolen on it. And it was that episode. And since then, I've had that song stuck in my head. Which is the whole point of the fucking episode. Gonna head down to the beach, gonna do some bitchy things. So that's where we're ending off for today. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with Spider-Man. Be that Miles Morales or 2. And, right, if we do 2, we'll still go back and do Miles Morales. And if we do Miles Morales, we'll play 2 later. I mean, like, right after. Because I'll probably have beaten the game and we'll just go again. And streaming Mario Wonder, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in the future. But with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.